Hello, folks. Just a quick video. I saw something earlier that was really sad. Young officer in a difficult situation, to say the least. She obviously has been having a hard time. I mean, I said to myself the other day, you're going to have a situation where good officers are going to take the brunt of people's anger. Consequences are going to hit them as well as the bad ones. And part of the reason is because for too long, good officers have turned a blind eye to the bad ones. And there are consequences to that. One of the consequences to that is that when people start getting smacked about for it, figuratively speaking, the good officers will get smacked around as well. And I mean, I imagine that certainly in parts of America, in the bigger cities, it's going to have been tough for officers for a long time. They've had to deal with the coronavirus and the fear that they're going to places, helping the medical teams, going into places where people have got the virus and knowing that they are quite high risk of getting it. And even though they're not necessarily old, they're not necessarily in fantastic condition, and so therefore there would be a risk that they could get the virus and they could suffer badly from it, if not actually die. So, yeah, not an easy situation. Plus, during that period, they were seeing a lot of people die. They'd have been called to a lot of homes of people, and those people would have been dead by the time they got there. Dealing with families that are distraught. Not being able to really comfort people, because of course with the virus you can't really do that. You can't really comfort people. So having all that, then the situation with George Floyd and the officer there, being responsible for an extremely unlawful killing, which is what it was. Yeah. I mean, that was incredibly unlawful. There have been other killings since. And the Mr. Brooks killing was lawful, and yet the officer involved in that was fired. Was only fired because of the killings that have happened recently that have got all the attention and got everyone incredibly nervous. And of course, for that region, what they didn't want is for the protests to be set alight to the local precinct. So they fired the officer, thinking that will deal with the situation. And of course, it did not, because people still were protesting, and a certain amount of damage was done in the city. The Wind Piece itself, where the incident happened, was set on fire. So firing an officer didn't really calm the people down very much at all. So of course it's been a tough time for police, as well as it has been for communities in those areas, and especially the people related to the people who have died. It's been a really tough time for them as well. I felt sorry for the lady, for the police officer. Really did. Terrible situation. She did have a meltdown, but as I said, it's got nothing to do with not getting her McMuffin. I've never had a McMuffin, so I'm not sure if it's something to cry about not getting it. I wouldn't imagine it is. So, yeah. I imagine the girl was hungry, she was tired, and yeah, McDonald's will be like it is here, really, where it's just drive-through. And of course, just drive-through, you've got only a certain skeleton amount of staff on, and mistakes will happen. And unfortunately, if you've had a long day and you're tired and you're emotional and mistakes happen, then there you go. That's what can happen. And she videoed it and she put it online. And now, of course, she will be seriously regretting putting it online. Poor girl. I will link the page I'm looking at with the video on it. I'll link that to this video. Yeah, it's going to be emotional time. It really is. There you go. A few other points. People need to pray for what's happening in Brazil. There's a terrible situation there. The leader in Brazil is like a mini Trump. Denying coronavirus, even though it's now spreading through his country like wildfire, and the number of cases now is ridiculous. And deaths in that country are going to go through the roof, especially because the poor all live in incredibly close confined areas, and there's no treatment for them at all. There's no real anything going on because he, as a leader, is in complete denial of there being a coronavirus, or his coronavirus in his country. And because of coronavirus, he's actually now told the people that fell trees to basically go into the Amazon and fell as many trees as they possibly can. Which also means they're going into areas where you've got tribes that really don't have any immune system. There's sort of diseases, so tribes are just being wiped out now as well in Brazil. Not good. And that's the toe. Yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on. The toe seems to be quite numb right now. It started getting numb at around about sort of 5 a.m. Because before 5 a.m., it didn't matter what position I laid in bed. If I laid with that toe touching the bed or with the other side of the foot touching the bed, that toe was really painful. I just couldn't sleep. Then about 5 a.m., suddenly it was fine. I could lay with either side touching the bed and it didn't hurt anymore. So it's like, okay. I was able to actually put shoes on. I was saying that I've got my summer shoes, and with my summer ones, I've got shoes that are much, well, not leather top, but canvas. And I've only had the shoelaces done up from halfway up so that the feet get plenty of air, because they need it in the summer. And so, yeah, the normal shoes I was wearing, even though they were done the same way, they're more wintry, and putting them on, even trying to put them on this morning, just couldn't do it. Yeah, the toe was really painful. Toe's fine unless you put pressure on it. As soon as you start putting pressure on it, it can really hurt. So it swelled up quite a lot. So I think it probably is broken. The big toe. I think that's probably why it's gone numb, because it's repairing. So, but again, it could still be bruised. I mean, but why would it go numb if it's bruised? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it probably is broken. But there you go. It is what it is. I've taken the dogs out a few times today, and I can drive, so that's okay. Because really, the right foot is just used for the accelerator and the brake. And with that, just use the outside or the middle to outside of the foot. Just don't use the big toe. And that's cool. And when I take the dogs out, I just stand there. And the idea was that I stand there and I whack a ball and they bring the ball back to me. The problem is every blinking time I've gone out, I've had to do a lot of walking. Not because of my dogs, because first time there was a lady come up in the area with her dog, and she took flipping ages So I had to get out the way of her. Then she started coming down the other way I was, so I had to go down further. And great. Then I went out later about 8 o'clock, and my friend came out with his dog. Of course, he sat right next to his house, so my dogs went all over to him, so I had to go right the way over there. Then because he was up only around about 30, 40 meters from the road, Amber likes to sniff around to see if there's any food there. And I just said to him, I said, if one of my dogs gets run over, it's your flipping fault. I said, come away from the road. So he eventually came away from the road, so I walked over there. Then I hit the ball for his dog, and she didn't find it, so I had to go and get the ball. So I did a lot more walking than I was really intending to do, which has just meant that, of course, on the ankle and the Achilles tendon, they're a bit sore because they're being used more than they would normally be. But that's, I'll rest it. I will take them out again, hopefully before bed, just for a quick run. Although they don't need to. They've had 2 runs a day. That's not bad. And it is warm weather. Again, very, very warm indeed. So, yeah, you might be able to hear the fan on. Quite often I turn the fan off, but I completely forgot it was on actually. So I've just remembered. So sorry about that. But anyway, that will do for now. You take care, God bless, and I will speak to you soon. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe say thank you to an officer if you see them. I mean, the problem is if you're saying thank you to a bad officer, that officer will continue being bad. So maybe don't say thank you. Just don't necessarily abuse officers, unless you know they deserve it. I think that's a fair point. If they deserve it, if they're a bad one, then give them loads of abuse. That's fine. Take your frustration out on the bad ones. That's cool. Even though doing that is quite likely to get a bad reaction. Yeah, but there's no easy answer, is there really? None at all. And it is very much the case that if the good officers had been harder on the bad ones and reported the bad ones and done everything they could to get them out, then they probably wouldn't be going through the stuff they're going through now. So there you go. You take care, God bless, and I will speak to you soon. Bye-bye.